2024 just punched me in the throat over and over again. Like, it was like, pop, and I was, like, did not give me a break. Okay, this might have to be like a part series because there's a lot that happens in 2024. My name is Brianna, Kaleen, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I'm doing something completely different. I'm just gonna talk, like, off the cuff, which I never really do. I like having a script. It kind of freaks me out to just talk, but I'm gonna treat this as, like, my journal. Kind of just want to reflect on 2024 and tell you the truth about my journey of where I've been at, and not just like the highlight reel that glitz and glamour, but the actual like grinding and difficult part of my year. So without further ado, let's get into it. I called off my wedding at the end of 2023, a couple weeks before the wedding, and obviously 2024 ended up being completely different than what I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to be married and like living with my partner and beginning our life together, and it ended up just being me by myself in New York City. So I had to adapt. I ended up finding a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, beautiful place in New Jersey that I actually really loved. Was so excited to just like kick off, and like I'm a grinder, so like when things happen I just continue going. And so when I called off my wedding, I was still like, okay, cool, we redirect and keep going. And that's what I did. I found a place in New Jersey and I loved it. I kept going, found work in the city because I had just gotten off a gig. So, you know, coming back and not having your theater job, it's like, what do I do now? So I found a gig nannying and was like getting into the flow of New Jersey because I'd always lived in New York. 20-minute commute to the city, pretty affordable rent, really loved it. And then like I flew, okay, this might have to be like a part series because there's a lot that happens in 2024. Moved to New Jersey. I found my place like a week before I moved. It was January 6th. On the 7th, I literally had a competition, a NATS competition, which is National Association of Teachers of Singers or something like that. And I had made it to finals, which was live in New York City. And so I moved in, me and my friends, during like a winter storm. It was like hailing and sleet. I drove that U-Haul from my place in Brooklyn through New York to New Jersey. And we unpacked through the sleet. Then we unpacked everything, 5th floor walk up, me and my friends. I think there were like 5 of us. We moved all of my stuff up 5 floors into this apartment that I had never seen in person. Mistake number 1. It was beautiful though, I loved it. We get in, we move everything in, and the next morning I had to wake up at like the crack of dawn, like 5 a.m. to go to this competition and sing musical theater songs. So I was exhausted, obviously, because I had just like moved everything and all my friends had helped me. We were in the cold. And you know, like when you move in, I love to be the person who's like, I'm gonna unpack everything in like one night. But like by the time we moved in, I think it was like 12 in the morning. And then I stayed up for like another 2 hours, like unpacking the things in my room just so I could say like, I have a place to sleep tonight. So all the rest of my stuff was like pressed up against the bedroom and like in the living room, whatever. And that night, New Jersey had like a record of rain that it's like the state of New Jersey has ever had. And that next morning at 5 a.m. when I woke up, I realized the floor was wet. And I was like, what the heck? Turns out the window seal in the bedroom, not the window was like cracked and it was, no, you know how it's like, how do I explain this? Window, right here. Window seal thingy, top window seal. You know what I'm talking about. I'll find a picture. The window seal was dripping rain all night long. And all my stuff was pushed against the wall. All my stuff, water damaged. My grandpa had given me a Thriller Michael Jackson original record. Destroyed. All my journals from like years past, all my singing journals, my guitar was up against the wall, like everything. So that was my first night, and mind you, I still had to leave to go to this competition. So I just, and like, you know, when you move in, you don't have like buckets, like you haven't, that's not like on your mind. Hello, I'm just a girl. So I had all my towels and I just like pushed them up against the wall and like tried to tape them onto the ceiling to try to make sure nothing else was gonna pour in while I was gone for the whole day. And then I left. And on my way to this thing, I'm exhausted. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a leak. This is my first night in this apartment. Like, bro, what? Mind you, it's still raining. So I'm like, it's going to rain all day. And then I get to this competition and I sing, and it's not my best because I'm not feeling my best and everything that's happened. And so I sing. I end up getting like 4th place, something like that. I can't even remember. I don't know. And then I go back home, and that's what I've been thinking about all day. Mind you, this is like an 8-hour competition. You sing a round, and then you get to the next round, but that takes like 4 hours, and you sing the next round in front of like a whole audience, and then you wait for the results and whatever. So I finally get home. Mind you, that was a commute to New York, so I go back to New Jersey, and there's more leaks in my house. And I'm like calling management being like, hey, I just moved in, there's already leaks, like, can you send someone out? And they're like, well, we have to wait till it stops raining because we can't really work on the ceiling when it's not dry, whatever. And I was like, okay, great. Can you guys send like your super with like a bucket or something? Because I don't have a bucket. They were like, no. Cool. So then I go out in the rain and I get these buckets, I bring them back up and I put them in the spots. I fall asleep, whatever, to the rhythmic sounds of the water dripping into the buckets, just doop, 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 all night long. Mind you, it's different ones, so it's like doop, 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 boop, 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 boop. That's what I hear all night long. Go to sleep, I wake up, and it's still raining. It rains for like 2 weeks, I kid you not. By the time it stopped raining, I had like 8 leaks in my apartment. I don't know if you've ever seen like leaking, but essentially the paint on the wall, so like if this is the wall, I just need to like show y'all videos while I'm doing it. There's like the water coming, and then the paint like builds up into like a puddle of water within the paint on the wall. It's weird. That was happening everywhere. Cracks were forming in the ceiling, like little cracks were forming in the ceiling everywhere, and it was bad. I'll show all the videos that I think I still have. And this goes on for like 3 months. It's March. I've been calling the whole time, mind you. And I'm not the type of person to just let stuff slide. I'm calling every single time there's a new leak. I'm taking video proof. I'm sending photos. But it's New Jersey, New York. Like, if you've never lived there, they don't care. So because it's such a competitive market, if you were like, I'm leaving, they'd be like, okay, cool, we'll fill it up. We'll patch it up and then have somebody else come in. And that's the thing. Like, it wasn't noticeable when I moved in that there was anything amiss with the roof, because I was on the top floor, 5-floor walk up, and there was nothing to be seen because even when they came in to help, they would just patch the crack, sand it down, and paint it. And it wasn't actually fixing the roof problem. So when it would rain again, there'd be the same leak over and over again. So by March, it's like March 10th, I'm over it. I, at one point, had to pee with an umbrella because there was a leak like right over the toilet. There was mold growing. The ceilings were literally starting to cave in. At one point, water hit like a socket and like smoke, almost a fire. I had to put it out, like craziness. And I call and I'm like, this is dangerous. I can sue you. Like, you guys should come out and fix this. And I went full Karen. I was like, if you don't do this, I'm going to sue you. And no. I went off. And that's when they were finally like, okay, fine. We will send someone out to fix it. But until then, if you want to move to one of our buildings within our same management company, you can. So they sent me to like a building across the street, and I kid you not, the state of this apartment that they were going to move me into was appalling. I literally was like, do you not care for human safety? There was like, you could step and feel like the floor was going to cave out underneath you. Doors were broken, holes in doors. Like, I was literally like, how are you going to just move me into a worse apartment for the same amount of rent? Mind you, I've been paying $1,500 a month to live in this place. And I was so frustrated. I found a place that I could move into, which is a whole nother story. It ended up not being good either. 2024 just punched me in the throat over and over again. Like, it was like, pop, and I was like, did not give me a break. And so I pretty much threatened to sue them again. They finally let me out the lease. It was like, mind you, that was like 3 months in the making of me being like, I'd like to leave. And they were like, no. And I was like, no, I'd like to leave. And then finally, when it was dangerous because of the fire, they were like, sure. But I still had to be like, I would like to leave. And then they finally let me leave. and I got out of that lease. That was like the first 3 months of 2024. And within that whole time, like, we're journaling here, so I'm just gonna spew my thoughts because I haven't really had time to sit and like reminisce on the situation. But I am very proud of how I handled my life throughout that, because my home life was not what I wanted it to be at all. But I was still building relationships with people. I still had friends over. I released my first song. Got to work with Disney to form like a whole musical for a cruise line. I got to sing at 54 Below at multiple events. I got to meet great people, do lots of things for TikTok. Like, I was building my career in a way that I was really proud of and forming connections with people in a way that made me feel very happy and joyful. And my walk with the Lord was, it was tight during that time because I was going through it. You know what I mean? But I was proud that instead of just like letting my home life dictate my life, I was still able to make something beautiful out of it and have other memories of that time that aren't just the state of what I was coming home to every single day and the frustrations that I had. There was like a great duality that I was proud of myself for letting myself have, instead of just being stuck in what was happening. And that's kind of the theme, I think, for all of 2024, was how I allowed myself to still live even when life didn't let me to my fullest extent. Like when the situations were happening and I was like, what? Why is this happening right now? I still was like, well, fine. I'm going to go out with my friends. I'm going to go audition for this thing and do my best that I can. I'm going to make sure that everything I put forward in life is excellent, even if the circumstance isn't. And I'm really proud of that. And so, yeah, that's just part one of what my life looked like in 2024, even though like you could see all the glitz and glams if you wanted to. There's always, and that's like the reminder that I always think of, especially since it happened so much to me in 2024. You never know what people are going through. And even if on their social media or even in person, when you ask them how they are and they immediately go to like what they've achieved or like what they're doing, like there's always something happening underneath. Like no matter if it's like an extreme or a little, like someone is going through something. Applaud the people in your life for going through it and surviving it, because that in itself is an accomplishment they should feel proud of. And me as an achiever, I know a lot of the times I don't see those things as accomplishments, but they are. The fact that you were able to not only survive that, but live through it and maybe thrive, like that is worth a lot. And the things that you learn during that inform a lot of the life that you live later. And so like without that, you wouldn't be where you are. And that's why I think I'm doing this, is just to remind myself that I went through things that have built me into who I am today. And though I would have chosen a different situation to learn the lessons that I learned, I'm proud of where I am. So yeah, this is just my first vlog of what 2024 was for me. Honestly, one day I'm going to turn it into a book or a TV series because it's laughable. It really is laughable what happened to me during that time. So anywho, thanks for listening. Let's hope 2025 is better. Okay, bye.